Hello everyone. Extremely excited to have someone who's very special to me, very dear to me, Neha Savant. Hi Neha.
Hello.
It's been a few years since Neha did her Rangamanch Pravesh, or Samarpan as we call it. And she is in most of the classes being mentioned still. 2010 is when she did her Samarpan in April. April 17th.
2010.
That's right. So Neha has since then traveled, gone to college, worked, and as my daughter says, because she's from my daughter's group of batch of dance, like my daughter just met her and came back and said she has done some cool stuff. Like I needed to know that. I already knew that. So I kind of want to bring this community into a more awareness about dance. It is not about one of the things that you should do because you're Indian, that you should do Indian dance, but this is a lot more commitment than most people realize. So I brought Neha here today so we could have a dialogue about dance. And after she left her high school time with me, where she went and what she did, she will tell herself. Go ahead, Neha.
All right. Well, thank you for having me. I'm so excited. This is my first podcast appearance or video interview, so thank you for being
Of course.
my first. We've gone through many firsts together, so
Yes.
it's exciting to continue that tradition, for myself at least. So I grew up, I was born in Torrance, grew up in Palos Verdes, and my parents are still there. And I now live in Queens in New York City. And the journey between there and where I am now has definitely been a winding one. And dance has been by my side, I would say, throughout all of it. And I think, I don't think I quite understood what dance was when I was dancing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I had to leave, I had to go explore all the different places, which I'll mention, to really understand what it was that you were trying to teach me. So after I did my summer fun on April 17th, 2010, I graduated and I went to school in Claremont, California at a place called Pomona College. And I studied biology. And
that was your big dream.
That was my big dream. I've always wanted to study biology. I had wanted that for a long time. My father is a chemist who's obsessed with physics. And so biology was the missing piece, I would say. And very encouraged to go into science. It was definitely more of the stable, more legitimate kind of field or discipline for many Indian kids of immigrants, really. But I went there and I thought I wanted to do pre-med, and then I started taking my intro bio series and I met people that were studying ecology. And I was like, whoa, you don't just have to study the inside of the body, you could study the outside too. You could study everything around us. And that is really where I started opening up a lot. I think growing up here, I could only see certain things of how things could be. And then once I started to interact in college, I expanded a lot. And so I studied in Claremont for 4 years, and then I was lucky to get an opportunity to study in Costa Rica. I studied frogs in the swamps of Costa Rica. I studied birds in Panama. And then I was like, I need to interact with humans more. And so I actually became a teacher in the San Bernardino Mountains for outdoor science school. Studied or taught middle school students. And then I missed science, so then I went back to science, and I moved to Oregon, and I had studied frogs and butterflies in a federally funded study on climate change and how it affects sensitive species. And then I applied to grad school because I wanted to start leading my own projects and asking my own questions. And that's what brought me to New York City. and I've stayed there ever since, although the journey to staying has been a challenging one too. It's not an easy place to live.
You have to travel a bit to learn about what you want to do.
Yes,
there's
exactly.
no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about what do you think brought you back to dance, or why do I still
dance?
Stay connected with me.
Yeah.
Let's go with that, because I know we have some questions from our students
Yeah.
that we have for you.
Yeah.
So just what keeps you connected?
Yeah. I mean, what's coming to mind right now is before the summer fun, we did, I don't remember what exactly it was called, but a Guru Puja.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I remember that very distinctly as an important part of the summer fun, in that I would always stay connected.
Yes.
No matter where I went.
We promised to each other.
We promised that to each other.
Yes, and you kept the promise.
Yeah, and I like to live with integrity, and so keeping that
Beautiful.
promise is really important. And returning whenever I come visiting, I always learn something.
Absolutely.
I always learn something, and we always feel that connection. But I did leave dance for a little bit. My career, I'm an ecologist, an urban wildlife ecologist, and that's not something I imagined when I was young. I didn't know that was possible when I was young, and so I had to travel a lot and got very lucky to be in certain places to make those connections with people and those job opportunities. But I had to move around a lot. And so I couldn't really stay connected in that, like coming to dance class or have any sort of regularity with dance, right? And so dance became less of a like physical practice in that like I wasn't doing matatkar, getting into riyaz. I wasn't practicing the hastas or anything like that. But it still was in my body. And my mom could see me living in New York City and feeling really like tension, lots of tension in me. She was like, Neha, you should just go find a studio, go start dancing again. She's like, I think that will help. And I was like, okay, Mom, you don't get my life.
Yeah, moms don't. Right?
Yeah, and I found somebody. It didn't really work out. The timing, the connection wasn't there. And then a year later or 2 years later, after I finished school and after I'd gotten a stable job, I was like, okay, I think I can go find a studio now. And I found a studio. They're called Navatman in Midtown East Manhattan, and in Koreatown actually. And one of the leaders, the main organizers, her name is Sahi, and she grew up in the United States, and she's teaching. And she, I think, teaches. I'm like scared if I get this wrong, but she teaches like something that's similar to like Lucknow and Banaras style. It's not Jaipur style. And so I grew up, right, dancing Jaipur and watching Jaipur. And now I was in this new studio where I was having to learn a different style. And so all the things that felt right to me, the things that you had taught me, she was like, no, fix this, do this differently, like, don't do the, what is this called? The mean, yeah, like, you don't do it like that. And I was like, my body feels so out of rhythm, right? But it was a great learning experience to understand how Kathak and what Kathak helps us to understand can come through in so many different contexts. And teachers communicated in different ways.
Absolutely.
And I could see she has a junior troupe. She mostly teaches adults, but she had a junior troupe of students that she had been with maybe since they were 7, 8. So since I had been with you, right, at that age. And I could see they were now like dancing with advanced students like myself. And when she would give like a tukra or some tal or, say something, I was lost. I was like, I don't know what she's talking about. She is speaking so fast and she is moving in a way that's not familiar to me. But her younger students got it immediately because they had been with her for a long time. And so they understood how she thought. And I think that's really what dance is. And so when I come talk to you and me are just like water. Yeah. Right? It's just like two flows of water going into one, and it's just very easy.
Yep.
And so once I understood that, I didn't feel as bad anymore in that new studio.
About yourself.
Like, I was like, I don't get it, that's fine.
That's right. That's
because
wonderful.
I knew that I had you.
Yeah, that's so wonderful. And that's the beauty. Dance is, of course, a connection with yourself, but it's also with the teacher. I think it matters a lot. Who is your mentor or your whoever is connected
into you.
Yes, and then you kind of become one, and such a beautiful way of thinking about it. We do have some questions from our students, and Karishma here, that's very kindly going to ask those questions of the girls.
What does dance mean to you, and how has it changed from before, when you were in high school learning all of these toras, dukras, parans, to now when you're more evolved and grown up throughout college?
So we had a little bit of a discussion right before this with some of the dancers, and it was wonderful to kind of understand how everybody, like where people are right now. They're all, teenagers growing into young women, and I would say that now my way of understanding dance is really, it's a way of life. It's not a performance. It's not the music. It's not the footwork. It's not the ways that we move our hands. It's like the ways that we move about the world. And I would say that dance, now I'm 32, and I feel like dance like saved me when I was growing up, because I see like what I'm able to embody because I had dance so early. And I connect with other dancers that are not in Indian classical dance. They're in other dance forms or whatever. And the understanding is there, because when you start dancing and start to embody things from such a young age, it never really leaves you.
Yeah, like I say, dance is actually, it's a cosmic dance that we are in. So the whole of the cosmos is actually dance.
Yes, exactly.
Right? So once you learn that, then you dance better in life itself.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And, in terms of like, I left dance for a little bit. I choreographed in college. I did like Bollywood and Kathak. I actually did even a workshop in Costa Rica. Someone was interested in Kathak, so I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And so I had a lot of confidence in presenting what Kathak is, and that helps. But I would say like right now, I actually have stepped away from physically dancing. In January, I decided that I didn't, being in classes and performing really wasn't what I needed. And so I really wanted to spend more time doing a lot of organizing in South Asian communities and in New York City and beyond. And to do that, I needed to pour my energy in different places.
And you did ask me. Actually,
and I did, yeah.
She called me and asked me, what do you think of that? And I totally believe dance is to be felt in the way you want to feel it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And it still feels very much like a dance. I don't feel like I've left dance at all. It's always kind of like running in my body.
It's the energy of dance.
Yes.
What's the next question?
That's so great to hear. Most of these girls, such as myself, are either in college or going to graduate, but we're trying to find the balance between our school life and doing dance. So we have a question, which is, how do you manage your other activities and schoolwork while you were doing your summer bun?
Ooh, while I was doing my summer bun, I remember that I was always so scheduled growing up, which is very different than my partner, who grew up just like playing. And he did some things that, he cared about, but like, I feel like I had volleyball, basketball, softball, soccer, and dance and school. And all of them were like happening at different times. And
captain of the basketball team.
Yeah, I was captain of the basketball team in high school, like all of these things. And so I think that's also like a dance, right? It's like, you're dancing for the summer bun.
It's drutle.
Yes, drutle. No wonder I live in New York City now, right?
Like that. do it now and do everything that you can.
Yeah.
But do you still feel that I wish I didn't have to do that much?
I am...
Any regrets about that?
I don't think I have regrets because I know that I've learned from everything that I've had to do or that I've done. And in some ways I see how that go, trutle has prepared me for what I'm doing now, right? Like, organizing in the South Asian community is complicated. It is very challenging. People are coming from all different levels, and I have been trained since I was young to like manage all these different things happening at the same time. And so for me, it's like more of the flow, going and letting go a little bit and allowing yourself to be pulled in different ways. But I think you always have your like tintal, you know, vilambit.
In the base.
You always have your base.
Ati vilambit going on inside of
yes,
you. Yes,
exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And
I think that's what dance has given me as well. And that like, yeah, you have your samarpa and you have these responsibilities, but you always have to come back to center. And you always have to come back to the thing that stabilizes you.
Right. I'm asking you that question because I feel, for me, and this is actually, I would love for you to think about for a minute.
Yeah.
For me, I feel if there's too many things going on around you, or if a child does not know what day it is and what is the next activity, I think it's a little too much for them.
Yeah.
And also when you were growing up, the screens were not that important part of your life.
That's true.
These days, the stimulation is a whole lot more.
Okay.
Your stimulation was through, what
My
all
schedule.
your activities, right? But for kids, that is there. And a lot of dependence on not using the moment, I feel. In dance, that's what I feel. I always suggest to parents, and it can only be a suggestion, that you should choose 3 at a time, maybe. And if you're taking Kathak, then it should be a very central thing for you, because it's not about having 100 students that we really will never have. We will be 99 maybe someday. But the goal has to be that whatever you're doing, you should be able to balance it.
Yeah.
And if there is more commitment to everything else and then screen time, I think it becomes harder for kids. And I also feel that I almost feel bad asking kids, did you practice? Because the memory has the memory chip is still kind of small and we're filling too much in it. I feel they're not able to devote themselves. And also for the parents, it's easier to have videos. So I've never done videos before. I used to always say, record it in your mind and then I will do a video and send it to you. And that's what we still do. When we are teaching, we don't immediately make a recording unless it's a choreography that is just coming to me or something like that. We try to teach and then make videos. So I feel these days, when there's so much going on already, the stimulation is really high already. The preteens are into Instagram and, the other social medias. It's harder for them to connect with Kathak. So this is what I think the change of time is. From your time of doing so many things, yet you use that to flow into things. But the times are so different now. So I just wanted to share that with you.
It's helpful context for me too, because I think I forget how much more information is being shared, but also consumed by the kids.
By kids. Or even adults.
Yeah, and adults.
Even adults.
And we don't have the time to slow down.
Yeah.
And I think, to give context, like me and you are here, I've taken a 2.5 month sabbatical from work. I love my job. My job is my dream job. But my job is not my life. My life is just to be a human.
To be a human first, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I have forgotten that. And that's why I needed to just like slow down. There's like nothing wrong, you know. First of all,
taking time.
Yeah, you know, take time. I had to like, you know, say it's a mental health break. It's a holistic health break.
Yes.
I live far from my parents. I live far from the place I grew up, and I feel like I need to reconnect. And I think that I get caught up. I get caught up in that storm of information, right?
Right, and you know, it's so easy to do that these days, that you can just get caught up. But I think for young minds, and what we have added in our classes, that when I see that flow is not coming and the kids are, you know, they already are like
going from one thing to another.
No, plus they're zoning out, and you know, I know they're thinking about where they have to be next or what needs to be done. And that's the other thing, is every teacher will pressure about what should be done, what needs to be done.
Right.
I try to give them, as soon as I see that, I say, sit down in the middle of the class and connect with yourself, your inner self, and that's the flow, right? So we're trying to add that, and it's so good that I can talk to you about it, because I know we are like going to spread it out to other people, that yes, it's important to know a lot of things, but then to know things well, or to be able to utilize it, you have to not be stimulated all the time, or be thinking about what's next, or what has happened. Oh, my test was so I'm teaching them that with it, so which is a kind of a
and it's important for kids to be bored.
Exactly.
They have to be bored.
Yeah, and parents
they can't
don't
just
want
be constantly filling in things. And you know, growing up in this area, like getting into the right college, making sure the, you know, resume looks this way and that way, and like all of that, you know, kids are valuable no matter what they do.
Yeah.
And absolutely. I think that we forget that. I forget that about myself. I think we forget it about all of ourselves, because we live in this like incredibly fast moving economic system and society where, you know, if you aren't doing something, you feel like you're falling behind, you're not worthy. And I think that we're like teaching our kids that through actions. Right? And so anything to help have the kids slow down. I mean, for me, I'm an ecologist by profession. And for me, it's about being outside, noticing what plants are growing in the sidewalks, noticing what trees you have around you, noticing, what is it humid outside? Is my hair dry? You know, slowing down to feel how your skin feels, right? Absolutely. And just taking a second. And I think that the more that we can, and actually this is one part of my organizing in New York City, is how do we make spaces like that? Because I think often, especially for immigrants and children of immigrants, we know how to do that inside, you know, in mandirs and temples, in dance studios. But the question that really drives me is, how do we make that space outside. For us here in diaspora, in, you know, Turtle Island, North America, a place that our people have only recently arrived.